Okay, welcome back to the next installment of the off-road game. In today's video we are going to set individual lap times so that when we cross the finish line we get an indication of how fast that particular lap took rather than the total amount of time. We're also going to set up some events so that when you cross the finish line for the third time you stop.
I'm Xanderwood. I make indie games and tutorials on game development. I also play your indie games every week on my channel. Make sure you subscribe and click that bell icon so you never miss a video.
Okay, so we look back at the events that we've got going on now. We've got three little text boxes here which keep track of our time when we cross the finish line. However, what's going on at the moment is it's just giving us the total amount of time rather than the individual lap. So what I want to do is I want to change something and add in some global variables to track our lap time. So right click, add a global variable, and we're going to call this one lap 1. It's going to be a number, and then we're just going to copy that twice more. So we're going to have lap 1, lap 2 and lap 3. We've also got lap time as well. Come on down to the lap time group that we set up in the last episode or the episode before that, and then ignore the first one and come down to the second one here where it says if it's lap 1 when we cross the start line, then we're going to set text of lap 1 to lap time, or we're going to change that, and instead of having it lap time we're going to call it lap 1. And then down here we're going to do the exact same thing, except this one is now going to say lap 2, and then on the third one it's going to say lap 3. However, if we leave it like that, nothing's going to happen because we haven't assigned lap 1, 2 and 3 to do anything when the game starts. So it's just going to say 0 every single time. So what we need to do is say that every time we collide with this, we need to update that variable. So you're going to come down here to this block where it says when we cross the line, if it's lap 1, we're going to add another action, and we're going to say system, and we're going to say set value, and we're going to say set the value of lap 1 to lap time. So whatever the time is on the clock, effectively this is the clock here, whatever that time is when we cross the finish line on lap 1 is we're going to set that to lap 1, and then we're going to set the text to display lap 1. It's effectively going to be exactly what we had before, except there's going to be a slight difference on the next one. So copy and drag it down, double click it, change it to lap 2. And we're going to say, when we cross the finish line on the second one, we're going to set lap 2 to lap time minus lap 1. So it's going to deduct whatever we did in lap 1 to give us our new individual lap time. We're going to drag that down again, and we're going to change it to say lap 3, and we're just going to change that to say lap 2, and then we're going to minus lap 1 as well. So let's play it. Okay, let's speed along. So lap 1 was 18 seconds. Lap 2 was 13 seconds. And lap 3 was 12. So you can see now that it's individually adding up our lap time. So the next thing we need to do is get the car to stop on the finish line on lap 3, and then get the system to decide who the winner is. And obviously the winner right now is going to be us because there are no other racers in the game, and we will be adding those in future tutorials. So right down on here we've already got this event set up already. So when the car crosses the finish line, if it's lap 3, we set that to record all the lap 3 data. Let's click on this whole block and hit B, add another sub event, and we're going to say the same thing again. So we're going to say TB start grid, and we're going to compare the instance variable, and if the lap is equal to 4, so if it's the 4th time round, obviously we don't want to do 4 laps, then what we're going to do is we're going to add another action. We're going to say system, and we're going to say group, set group active, and the group we're going to deactivate is our controls. And again, ignore all the other groups that I have. You won't have those. I've only got those because I'm making this as part of a mini game for a bigger game. Okay, done. So we've effectively deactivated this group here, which is basically saying when we push buttons, we need to move. So because that's deactivated, the car is going to stop, But just to make sure of that, I want to go back into my sprite in my off-road folder, and I'm going to say sprite car, and I'm going to set speed to 0 so the car will stop. Let's fast track through that now and see if it works. Yeah, it works fine, but we've got an error because it's not lap 4 that we want that to happen on, it's actually lap 3. So we're going to record the lap 3 time, and then we're going to close it down. We're going to close the race on lap 3. But what we also need to do is we need to stop the timer. So this only needs to be happening if we're in a race. Now, we could just set a condition on this, or we could just say that when we get to lap 4, stop the timer, but a better way to do it is just to have a Boolean variable which tells the system whether we're racing or not. So let's add it as a global, and we're going to call it in-game, and we're going to make it a Boolean. And it's going to be up there in-game, but I'm actually going to change the name of that, in-game off-road, because again, this is a bigger project for me and I want to make sure that I remember what this is if I see it later. But you can call yours whatever you want to, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to call mine in-game off-road. It's going to be false because when we start the game, we're not in the game. It's only going to go true when we start, and what we'll probably have is a countdown that says 3, 2, 1, and then we will start to race. But for now, we can just, in fact, let's just set it to true for now, so we can get this working. So when we get down to lap 3 here, we're going to go system, and we're going to say set boolean, and we're going to say, and again, ignore all of mine, we're going to say, where's the one I just made, in-game off-road, and we're going to set it false. Then we come up to every tick here, and we're going to push C, and we're going to say system, and we're going to check to see if that boolean's set. So this is only now going to work if we're in game. In fact, that needs to be on this one, sorry. So every 1 second, add 1 to lap time. That's only going to now work if we're in game. So when we hit the finish line for the 3rd time, the timer should stop. Perfect. So 19 seconds was the first lap, but then we did 2 laps which were 12 seconds each, and the total time was 43 seconds. And we had 2 nitros left in the bank. Perfect. I'm going to leave it there. In the next episode, we're going to create some artwork to display these nitros. We're going to make the clocks a little bit better. We're going to pretty up this HUD bar at the bottom here, and we're also going to add in a countdown timer which will say 3, 2, 1 before the race begins, and that's all coming up in the next episode. Thanks for sticking around, and if you found this tutorial useful, please consider leaving a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button because it really helps out my channel. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.